guys, welcome back. And I just got back from seeing the best movie of all time ever, Avengers Endgame. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, I just got back from seeing Avengers Endgame, and I don't really know what to say. Um, I will have sorry, there will be spoilers in this video. For Avengers Endgame. So if you don't want them, I'll tell you when you should click off. But and I will be courteous to you because there are plenty of other YouTubers who have not been courteous enough to not give away spoilers in their videos. I apologize, my throat's a little raspy. Sat in the theater for 3 hours. Um, so I guess I'll try to talk about non-spoilers. This movie's fantastic. Is it better than Infinity War? I don't know. Here's what I'll say without spoiling it. Infinity War is a better structured movie. In terms of plot, story, it's a better constructed film. This film, you can go into it, and there are things you can nitpick at. You can go, that should not happen. That should not be possible. That makes no sense. But you know what it is, right? It's an Avengers movie. It's stupid. It's crazy. So that doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I'm here to watch a good movie, and I watched a good movie. I might even say a great film. So if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, go check it out, and please do so quickly because there are people out there on the internet who are not courteous enough to not spoil the film for people. And so I'm sorry if you got spoiled, and I got spoiled in a few things before the film. Some people commented spoilers. I was scrolling down my recommended on YouTube, and I got some notifications that had spoilers in the title, and what's even more idiotic is that people say spoiler alert in the video title after they have a spoiler in the title already. But, yeah, it's a fantastic film, and I recommend you check it out for any Marvel fan. Now, if you've only seen a few of the MCU films, not spoiling anything for the film, of course. If you've only seen like some of the recent ones, I'd recommend you go back and watch The Avengers, Thor 2. I know that sounds really stupid, but you should watch Thor 2, Guardians of the Galaxy, and obviously, if you haven't seen Infinity War, then why are you even watching this movie? But yeah, you should go and watch those movies if you haven't already. But I think that's all I have to say without spoiling it. There's not really anything I can say without spoiling the film. Everyone else has already given their non-spoiler thoughts on the film. It's great. It went in directions I wasn't expecting, and it's great. So, getting into spoilers. So click off now if you don't want spoilers. Please do. I'm telling you, don't watch this video if you don't want spoilers. So I guess I'll talk about negatives first. Now, there are things in this movie like okay, so now we're getting into spoilers. Time travel. You can criticize everything about the time travel in this movie. They go back to the first Avengers. They go back to Thor 2. They go back to Guardians of the Galaxy. They go back to all these different events, and you can completely criticize everything. And there's a moment earlier where Ant-Man says, like, wait, so Back to the Future was a bunch of crap or something? So, like, they're basically saying, this is not, like, a time-traveling movie. It is a time-traveling movie. And so yeah, it is a time travel movie, but it doesn't really go by the same rules as the other ones. Like when they go back in time, the events don't like create time paradoxes, which they totally should. Like when future Nebula kills past Nebula. That should not happen. That should mean that the Nebula that shot her never existed in the first place. That should mean that she killed herself. So there are many examples I can think of like that where it should have created a time paradox, but you know what? I don't care. This is a superhero movie. This is a big summer action movie, and I don't care about any criticism that's thrown at it in that regard. There are some things like when they go and Black Widow jumps off the cliff on Vormir. Clint didn't really kill her. He was gonna kill herself, so it's not really a sacrifice. In that way, because like he didn't sacrifice her. They were both gonna kill themselves, and you know there's love between them. They have that that bromance bond, but there's not really like both were going to willingly kill themselves, so neither would have sacrificed the other. Or is it just like the rule is there's two people go, and if one of them dies, that means the other person technically sacrificed them? Is that how that rule works? And what was Red Skull doing that whole time? Was he just standing there going like, I have not seen action in a lifetime, so I'm going to watch this. This is quite interesting. So he jumped off, and then she grappled and saved him. and that and this and that. Like, I don't even know what Red Skull was doing there, but um, yeah. So there's all that, and then the final battle. This movie doesn't really give you much time to breathe, and it's a movie where my opinions will most likely change over time, and I need to see it more because this is a movie that you need to think more about. Like, it's a movie I need to process. And first of all, I was not expecting him to go 5 years in the future. Also, Captain Marvel post-credit scene. Where's Fury? What happened to all that? Was that a hoax? That was a trick, because in the credit scene for Captain Marvel, she showed up, and she was like, where's Fury? But in this movie, it starts with Tony, and she saves Tony, and brings him to Earth. So, that, like, that never happened that way in the first place. So that was just, like, a trick at the end of Captain Marvel. So that's kind of interesting. That they do that, and most of the footage is of the first half or first hour of this movie, and man, the first hour of this movie, I was not expecting to be as good as it was. Like, I was expecting it to be good, I just wasn't expecting it to go in the direction it did, where it jumped 5 years in the future, and everyone's basically lost hope. It's really grim. And then when Scott Lang, okay, this is my favorite part of the whole movie. Scott Lang gets saved by a rat. Scott Lang gets rescued out of the quantum realm by a rat. So I want to see a spin-off where the rat from the future, in maybe 2041 or something, when time travel exists, where the rat is like, oh man, I have to save the universe. So the rat travels back in time and gets Scott Lang out of the quantum realm. The rat is the true hero of this movie. If it hadn't gotten Scott out of the quantum realm, then nothing would have happened the way it did. Oh man, that was the best. The rat, there's so many things that you can say about this movie hinge on convenience. Like, first half, they go to the planet, whatever the heck it was. They go to Thanos' planet, and a lot of the characters you see on the poster are like from the first few minutes of the movie. Like, Thor, like, he's like completely different for the rest of the movie. Bruce Banner, you thought he was gonna be Bruce Banner for most of the movie. No, he's like Professor Hulk for like almost all the movie after the time jump. And then, man, when Iron Man or Tony Stark had his daughter, Morgan, I was not expecting that. I wasn't expecting him to have the kid. So the thing is, before the movie, I had a few things spoiled up for me. Black Widow was going to die. I knew she was going to sacrifice herself for the Soul Stone. And I knew that Tony was going to die at the end. I knew the way they would die. But, man, I did not know anything of the build-up to that. And it was so impactful. Like, I teared up in this movie. I didn't think I would. And I did kind of almost tear up at Spider-Man dying in Infinity War, but this movie brings out genuine emotions. And I think Infinity War maybe was trying a little too hard to squeeze emotions out of people at the end. This movie, they all felt earned. Like, when Black Widow died, I was just like, I was trying to tear up. One of the moments that affected me the most was, I think it's one of the greatest moments in this film of, like, visual storytelling and show don't tell, is where in the first scene in the entire film is Hawkeye and his daughter. And man, that scene was so disturbing. Like, there was no music. And the movie just starts, and then there's like a weird pop song kind of starts playing. It's kind of weird. But man, that opening was so grim. It just, that floored me, that opening. But yeah, I didn't, expect that. Like, that affected me so much, the Black Widow sacrificing herself. And then Tony at the end, man, I love how long they pause on him when he's like, I am inevitable. And then Tony has somehow gotten the stones off the gauntlet, and then he goes, I am Iron Man. Man. The way that they just pause on him so long, he's just like, I am. Pauses for like a minute. Iron Man. Snaps. And, all the army. It's kind of funny how, like, just only the bad guys disintegrate. Like, how. That's the thing I still don't understand how the snap works. Like, do you visualize who you want to die? So he was just like, I'm gonna kill just the bad guys, you know? I don't know. I don't really know, but, like, I would have liked some closure on Red Skull. Like, I brought that up in my Infinity War review, how there's no conclusion to what happened to Red Skull. In this movie, there's still no conclusion to what happened to him. But you can kind of understand. Because, like, the thing was, I thought it would have been great if, like, the whole middle of this movie is about doing all this and traveling through time. And then once it got to a certain point, I was like, okay, there's no way that this is all going to fail. But I thought they were going to come back, and it would be like they created a time paradox and they have to undo it. But I was like, no, it's too far into this movie already. They're not going to do that. So yeah, there are a ton of things you can complain about, and where like they should have totally like a time production have happened. And also Captain Marvel, man, she was not in this movie that much. She showed up at the beginning, rescued Tony. There's a time jump, shows her at the beginning, and then at the end, I forgot she was in the movie. So when they were like, "There's an energy signature coming from space," and then I was like, "Oh yeah, she's in this movie," and she came in and Rocket's like, "Oh yeah," that was great. I completely forgot. And I love how like she's so snarky and mean to everybody that like when she goes up to Peter Parker, she couldn't like they were like we can't have her be mean to Peter Parker, so she's just gonna be like, "Hey Peter Parker, you got something for me?" And Spider-Man, man, I was not expecting him to have so many great moments. So they all come back in the end, and the way that this movie it never lets you breathe. So like they go back and they're just like sitting there at the Avengers base, and then they have the stones, and then Hulk tries to like do the snap again to undo everything and bring everyone back. And then so Hawkeye gets a phone call from his wife, so she's alive. And then like you completely forget about that because immediately you find out, and they did some misdirection where in the past the Nebula from the past had like Nebula from the future, and then so like you thought it was Nebula from the future tricking Thanos and going up to him and then giving him the Pym particles, but no, it was past Nebula. So past Nebula came to the future and then brought Thanos into the future because she gave him the Pym particles. And then he just comes out of nowhere, and then they're like, "I think we won." And then suddenly he just blows up the whole thing. He just blows up the whole Avengers base, and man, he was just like, "No, I am like gonna blow you up." Like he just kept shooting. He just kept shooting a million rockets and bombs at them. He would not stop. He was just like, "Oh wait, you're not done yet." Like he was not kidding around. He was just blowing everybody up. But yeah, so past Thanos, I didn't expect them to kill Thanos in like the first few minutes of the movie. That was pretty surprising. And it was brutal too. Thor just came and chopped his head off. Man, that was impactful. But yeah, where that was really surprising to me. But yeah, it's not Thanos' story anymore, which is good. Yeah, and then at the end when everyone disappeared, and then he just kind of was like, "Man, I lost," and then he just disappeared as well. That was really good. And man, when Spider-Man had some great moments at the end when they all come back, and then man, when Cap picks up Mjolnir and you just see like the screen and you just see the hammer lifting, and it's like, "Oh yeah, it's Cap," and then you see the hammer fly, knocks Thanos out, and then it comes back and Steve has it, man. And then I loved when they were fighting, and then he had Stormbreaker and Thor had Mjolnir, and he was like, "Here, you take the small one." Like that was some great stuff right there. Um, some great character interaction once again. But yeah, Spider-Man had some great moments, like at the end when he was like, "Activate instant kill, finally," and then he just wipes out all the Outriders there, and he carried it around. I loved when Black Panther was like, "Clint, give me the Infinity Gauntlet." It was like, yeah, he cares now. I do care. But you know, that was great, and man, the movie was spectacular. You know, maybe I'll do another review in the future, kind of with refreshed thoughts on it. And I'll definitely try and do some custom minifigures on it, and I'll definitely most likely take some inspiration from the film for my Ninjago and Endgame series, um, when that happens. But yeah, this movie was fantastic. Um, yeah, I don't really know what to say. The movie was it was so good. Um, it was impactful. It was brutal. Like when they killed Thanos, that was brutal. But yeah, the movie was fantastic. You need to go see it if you haven't already, and if you haven't seen it already, why did you watch all the way through this video? Um, why did you watch it? But yeah, when they all come back at the end and they all come into play, and it's like the way that this movie, it's like they all come back and not one shot looks bad. There wasn't one shot where I was like, man, that looks like a bad CG shot. Like there's one shot in Infinity War where it shows Proxima Midnight, and I was like, man, that looks so fake. But in this movie, there's not that one shot. There's not that one shot. Like everything looks beautiful. Like in the final battle, when everyone comes in and it's like, and it feels coherent. Like you can see what's happening. None of it feels messy or confusing. Everything you can see what's happening. It all makes sense. It's like you could easily have it where like Transformers. There's only like two characters on screen in Transformers, and it feels like a jumbled mess of action. In this movie, there are like 1,000 characters. Like they all come back. Wong's there. all the sorcerers are there, all the Wakanda ships, the Wakanda army, the Avengers, the Guardians, everyone's there, but none of it feels messy or confusing or like hard to watch. Like, it was kind of when Tony and Cap and Thor were fighting Thanos at the beginning of the final battle. It was a little hard to see what was going on. It was a little too fast for me, but then once the final action started kicking in, everything didn't feel confusing or jumbled or anything. All of it, like, each character was on screen for the right amount. They all had a moment to shine. And, oh man, and then when Peter was like, Mr. Stark, we won, I was like, oh my god, don't do it to me. And Tony just... And the funeral at the end. And let me know, so there's everyone there at the funeral. I didn't see, Strange or Wong there. But there's this kid, like, there's this teenager-looking kid standing near the cottage at the end, and I do not know who that was. Like, my dad made a joke about it being Tom Riddle, but I don't know who that was. Like, let me know in the comments. My theory is, remember, Harley Keener, the kid from Iron Man 3, that actor was back. He was brought back in the cast. He was in the cast. So maybe that's, like, a future version of him, like, he's the right age, because he was, like, 10 or something, or 9 in Iron Man 3. So he's the perfect age, so maybe he went to go back to the funeral of his old buddy, the mechanic. Maybe we'll never know. And I love when Cap was like, Avengers, assemble. Man, oh man, this movie is just so satisfying and emotional, and it's... In those areas, I think it maybe is better than Infinity War, but I think Infinity War is a better structured movie. Like, you look at Infinity War and you're like, wow, that movie is so good, it's hard to pick flaws. This movie, you can go to the time travel parts, and you can just be like, man, none of this makes sense. They should be creating, like, 1,000 time paradoxes right now. But you don't care. You don't care. You ignore all that, because it's a superhero movie, and it's a well-done film. And, I guess my official rating for this film, my rating might change over time, but for now, my rating is an A. I'm gonna give Avengers Endgame an A. There are small issues that I have with it, and I think it might be just as good as Infinity War, if not better. Or I think they're just both equally fantastic films, and I think this is an experience that you need to have. And yeah, I'm gonna give Avengers Endgame an A. So you guys let me know what you think of Avengers Endgame if you've seen it, and what you thought of my review as well. And I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.